Hey,
What
happy
up?
Friday. We
Gotta
forgot to
silence my
silence
phone.
our phones.
Bunch of rookies.
That's how we're going to start this one. Just before we went live, too, we were talking about like the TikTok trend playing Smash, Marry, Kill. So if anybody's got any good Smash, Marry, Kills, throw them in the comments. We'll play that one.
This ought to be it. I'd like to see Daryl Cooley.
This is how this
This
one
will be
goes.
good.
Hey, when Brian's not here, we will play whatever game we want to play. This is my damn show.
When the boss is away,
We will play.
we will stray.
So joining me to my, I think that's my left if you're looking at it.
No
from
matter
the
what,
TV.
he's on your left.
Yeah, everybody's on my left. Kyle Carpenter, Andrew Banky's here this morning. Thanks for making the trip,
Oh,
bud.
absolutely.
Man,
A little
Mr.
slick
Legend.
this morning,
It's a
eh?
little slippery. A lot of ice down by me. Not so bad when I got up here, though.
See, that's the way it always goes. Like everything sucks by me, and then I get on the other side of Fremont, and the world's just fine.
It's all good.
Yep.
Well,
Yeah.
it's because there's civilization.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, there's more people.
There's people moving around.
Oh, there's
Yeah.
there's like
Yeah,
more
a couple more
asphalt
cars
concrete,
on the road.
world
That's
just-
the big thing.
I always blame it on Lake Winnebago and Poigan Split.
Well, that's what happens in Fond du Lac most of the time. Everything misses us because
Yep.
of the bottom of the lake.
Yep,
Everything just right around us.
right
That
around.
split is a real thing, too. You watch storms come across the state, and they hit the Winnebago system, and just
Yep.
Yep.
they either split or they go away.
And it usually is in the wintertime, the snow, more snow north, and then more of the crap weather to the south.
Yeah.
But like growing up, Wild Rose, Washera County, Watoma was like always one of the schools that they canceled. Like, and I was glad because I went there, right?
It's all rural, right?
Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
But I mean,
Long way to
most
get to
kids
school.
have to travel a ways to get to school and
Yeah.
the buses and so on and so forth. But yeah, it was always like
Matt,
you
we're old
woke,
enough now where we can say we had to walk uphill both ways.
yeah, dude.
Andrew can't say that.
And
It-
snow was as tall as the telephone
Yeah,
poles.
I
no.
remembered a storm of 91.
My parents said that. My dad was like, the snow drifts got so high they had to put little flags on the top of the antennas so you could see when you were turning corners and stuff like that. And we used
Were
to
they
go,
driving go-karts?
Yeah, I was just gonna
Yeah.
say.
I don't know.
We're not
The
in-
cars seemed like were bigger back
We're not
then,
in
weren't
Houghton. In
they?
Houghton,
They're bombs.
the UP, definitely.
Oh,
They
yeah.
still have to do that stuff. But
Yeah.
we got it pretty easy around here in winter. We get some ice, and we do not get a lot of snow.
No, not as much.
Was it
No.
last year or the year before? Was the most snow recorded in history or in record or since however many years?
I don't know.
We just got snow steady. It wasn't a whole lot at one time, but the total inches for the season was
There's a
a
lot.
record,
Yeah.
Yeah.
which is weird. I feel like maybe when you're younger, everything's so much bigger, right?
Oh, for sure.
An inch of snow is
Everything
It is
is
a
that
big
way
deal.
still in Kyle's world. It doesn't matter. It's always bigger.
objects may appear smaller than they
Smaller.
really are. Truly.
So good morning, Bob. So, okay, let's get this one fired up. First and foremost, Andrew Banky, thanks for joining us.
Matt looks
Absolutely.
Matt's comfortable
I
right
am.
now.
I'm chillaxing today.
Chill.
It is Friday,
Very.
right? It's casual Fridays.
It is.
So tell us a little bit about like Andrew Banky and how you growing up and things like that, and now kind of what you do for a full-time job. And let's just dive deep
Sure.
into the world
Sure.
of Andrew Banky.
Well, from Fond du Lac, so not far from here. Started fishing at a very young age. Like, I don't even know how young. I grew up around the competitive fishing world. My mom actually was the manager of competitive angling at Mercury
Really?
for 26 years.
Wow.
So I grew up in the tournament scene, going to all the big tournaments. I think the first classic I went to was in 2000 down
Wow.
in Chicago. Saw Woo Daves win that one. Don't remember much. A couple pictures here and there, but
You're graduated.
That was 2 years after that.
And
I was,
you were little.
yeah,
Depressing.
8. No, 7. Yeah. So started out like that. I mean, typical bluegill, worm and a bobber
Yep.
kind of stuff. My dad and grandpa would take me up north. They'd be fishing for muskies, and I'd be just catching whatever I could catch.
Yep.
I do remember one of my first fish actually being a 14-inch largemouth, and a family member made me kiss it. So I think I caught the bug right there. I've been addicted to bass
To
fishing
kiss a
ever
fish
since.
or
Yeah.
to bass fishing?
No, well, I'm not Jimmy Houston, but
I still don't understand the whole kiss and fish thing. That's just the weirdest thing to me ever.
no, it only happens if they're gigantic.
Right.
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 But, yeah.
Heat of the moment, I guess. I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't think I've ever kissed a fish.
No.
I in one of my videos last year, a fish on Gunnersville. I said it was like my first 4-pounder of the day. I was pretty excited.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, so heat of the moment.
Heat of the moment.
It was a long day until I got that bite. I was very thankful.
So did the the question I have right away is like, did mom work remotely? Because isn't Berkeley out of Minnesota? Or
Mercury.
Mercury.
Oh, Mercury. Oh, I
Mercury.
thought you said
Right out of
Berkeley.
Fond du Lac.
Okay. Yep. Mercury.
Yeah, no, she traveled a lot
Yep.
for work. And I mean, come from a divorced family, so a lot of times I would have to travel with her to some of these tournaments or spend time with the grandparents. But I spent a lot of time, at tournament weigh-ins around all the guys, but majority of my time on the road was spent in the service yard.
Yeah.
So I was with like Jay Anderson, Scott Beatty, and a bunch of guys that are still in it that I still see. Now that I'm traveling around fishing all these other events, they see me like, what the heck are you doing here? Didn't you get enough of this when you were younger? It's like, I couldn't even get away from it.
Don't get the sickness out of you.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, I grew up watching a lot of those guys and actually getting to talk to a lot of them. And it just such a positive influence on everything that I've always wanted to do. And then I started fishing local stuff, fished a couple clubs. I started doing pretty well in clubs. I fished the Oshkosh Bassmasters when they were around as a junior, then went into the full adult thing. And then that fell apart. I just started fishing local tournaments all over the state, anything I could get into. And I realized that I actually had better tournaments when I left places that I knew.
Yep.
So
fishing memories as much.
Right. And that's another thing that made me realize like you got to adjust. But anyway, so I started traveling a little bit more out of the state and having decent finishes and catching a lot of fish. So then I just decided to jump into the open. So I did that. Did not do very well. And just kind of, gathered myself and tried to enter the opens again. Couldn't get in because of the waiting list. So I was like, well, I'm not going to not travel and compete.
Right.
Because I don't want to step down. Like I fished the BFLs and stuff, and there's some hammers that fish the Great Lakes Division, or call it the Northern Mississippi River Division if you really want to.
The River Division?
Yeah. But there's some guys over there that like they live on the river, and they are hard to compete with, and I'm not going to take that away from them, but I just wanted to fish something a little bit bigger.
Yep.
So I jumped into the Toyota Series, which in the Central Division, which was Gunnersville, Dale Hollow, and Chickamauga. Finished 4th in Angler of the Year points and qualified for the Major League Fishing now Invitationals, the old pro circuit, the old FLW Tour. So that's what I'm doing this year. So yeah, fast track of how it's been, but yeah.
So living in Fond du Lac, like that's kind of walleye central. What made you go bass fishing over walleye fishing?
I hated trolling.
Yep.
I hated jigging. It's not like I don't like catching walleyes. They taste good. Throw them in the live well when I'm out practicing and stuff. But I just never really liked the tactics that you had to use to be effective to catch them.
See, and now like the game for walleye fishing and fishing in general has changed so much. I wonder if a lot of people that have that mentality, if they went back to the walleye world, would maybe change their tune a little bit.
Oh, for sure. You see a lot more guys casting for them. You see a lot more guys live scoping for them. That's fun to me. I like doing that kind of stuff. Yeah, I think if I maybe would have went that route, or if that would have been around a little bit more, I would be a little more addicted to that. But I don't know, the fight of a smallmouth bass is really, really hard to beat, especially a Great Lakes bass. And then you go down south and you fight some of those largemouth, especially for some reason, the ones in Gunnersville. Those F1 hybrids that they got in there are just a different animal. Yeah, they're mean.
A lot of people don't know this, but Kyle Carpenter does a phenomenal walleye fighting on the hook impression. Do you want to do that?
I get yelled at every time I do it.
It's probably like
some people think I'm having a stroke when I do it. I don't know why.
Well, give us a little taste.
No, I can't. Busy. I don't want to take thunder away from him.
Oh no.
But okay, so that's like a hobby for you, right? And I mean, what's your full-time job?
Right now I'm a firefighter paramedic.
How long you been doing that?
Been doing it. It'll be 6 years in June.
Very nice.
So I grew up. My dad was the assistant chief of the volunteer department, the town of Fond du Lac, and growing up on that side of it. So I've always been around that. I started volunteering as soon as I could, went through the cadet program at 16. You legally can't even go into a fire until you're 18 in the state of Wisconsin, but I was still rolling up to scenes that I wasn't supposed to be at and just helping roll hose and do the things that I could do.
Yep.
So I did that, and basically all the way through medic school. And then when I got my full-time career, that's when I stopped volunteering.
Does that type of career kind of offer a lot of time to go do the tournament thing, or do you have to bust hump to get the time off?
Well, it offers, like, just our schedule itself offers more days off because we work 24-hour shifts.
Yep.
But I still add on a lot of days. I work with an amazing group of people that work days for me, and I'll work days for them.
Yep.
So I still end up working the same amount of days. But it's, I mean, without the guys and gals that I work with taking shifts for me, there's no way I could travel around and fish nearly as much as I do.
That's pretty awesome that they'll do that, though.
Yeah, it's really cool. I'm really
you pay it
blessed with
back
that.
somewhere, right? You pay it back with some longer shifts.
Yes, I work.
Days,
I mean,
right?
I've worked I'd say a lot of 72-hour shifts, an occasional 96, and I think the longest one I've ever worked is a 120. So that's 5 days in a row at the firehouse.
That's crazy.
Yeah. It gets to be draining.
What I not to say like there's a lot of downtime, but like what do you guys do in between calls, I guess?
We have a lot of other trainings and stuff that we have to keep up with. Inspections is another thing that we do. We'll go to local businesses and just make sure they're up to fire code, and training, a lot of training. I mean, whether it be computer training, yesterday we had advanced cardiac life support. So it's an American Heart Association recertification class that we have to go through. And we did that yesterday in between running calls. So it was a very busy day at the firehouse yesterday.
Yep.
But
on average, Fonda, like how many calls do you guys get a
good question.
shift?
Oh, I'm spitballing here because I don't know the exact number, but I would say per shift we're probably somewhere between 8 and 12 for the whole department. Now, yesterday, for some reason, we hit probably over 40 calls in our 24-hour shift.
Really?
Our ambulance itself ran, I think it was either 15 or 16 calls.
Wow.
Well, this time of year, it's got to go up just because of slick driving conditions and things like that.
None of it had to do with that.
Really?
Yeah, it's just medical stuff. I don't know. I mean, people say full moon brings out the crazy people. They're not lying because it does.
Yeah.
The full moon a couple days before and a couple days after, things just go haywire in people. I don't know what it is, but
Brent says the same thing. He's a fireman paramedic in Green Bay, and he says the same thing. Full moon is insane.
It's nuts. And I didn't check the moon phase, but I don't know if we got one going on.
It was pretty bright last night when I was looking outside.
So
fresh snow will help that though. But yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, no, it's just been wild, but yeah, still fun. The nice thing about it is it's never consistent. It's always different.
Oh, so awesome. Bob had a question for you. He's still running a Bass Cat, but then he sees you're going down there yet, huh?
Yep, I'm still running the Bass Cat era. I love that boat. That's all I can say about it. And the people at the factory are awesome. I was there in November and just walked through and just kind of, the last time I was there was when I was picking up my first boat, toured the factory. I just kind of wanted to see what was new and the expansion that they did to their whole rigging operation and everything. They do a phenomenal job. It's so awesome to watch them build boats, and it's completely backwards than anybody would think.
Yep.
What do you mean? Explain that.
They build it from the outside in. So the color that your boat is going to be is laid in the form first.
They lay the gel coat first.
Really?
And they lay it by color.
Yep. And then the last thing they lay in is the glass.
So what is their thought process behind that? More stability, more durability?
I think it's sturdier. It's more.
Just a faster process.
And it's faster. Yeah, it takes, another thing I'm spitballing here, but I think it takes around 24 hours for that to cure before they can do anything to it and pull it out and start forming it. Yep. And it's 2 pieces and they slap them together.
They're all hand laid. So they lay the gel coat first, and then they lay the fiberglass over it and the resin over that by hand. So each piece of fiberglass is laid in by hand, rolled in, roll the air out of them.
That's crazy.
Yep.
It's an awesome process.
Some of it's sprayed. They did start spraying it, but they still have to roll in all of the creases and lines. So it's a very hands-on process. Mm-hmm. It's pretty interesting to watch.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is really
gives
neat.
you a massive appreciation for what you're getting.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's crazy. And the amount of boats that they put through that place, it's nuts.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So do they
But
build Yarcraft there too, or is
Yes.
are them built somewhere else?
Nope. Same plant.
Same plant. So
Yep.
Bob's probably been to that plant, I assume.
Yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause Bob runs a Yardcraft.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, BK's on.
BK's on. He's texting me. And was just about to text him back. Hey, I'm busy.
From
Busy
here,
filling in
bro.
for you today, buddy.
That's when he gets his best thoughts in, is when we're busy doing this stuff. So you kind of mentioned, like, how long have you been in the tournament game? Like, actually, what was that? Oh,
Brian pops up on the chat, and Matt sits up straight in his chair,
yeah. My back was just getting sore from
getting
laying
scolded
out.
by the teacher.
Gary's on.
Morning, Gary.
So yeah, how long have you been full-fledged in the tournament game?
I've been full-fledged in the bass fishing game since I was 14. My first tournament itself was actually a saltwater tournament in North Carolina. It was a junior king mackerel tournament that I fished with some of my mom's friends and their kids, and I took second place. I was beat by the last boat in by like 3 pounds.
That's the best.
And right there, it was like my competitive edge just like upped another level. It's like, I'm going to be so good at this.
I've done that
Yeah,
king
yeah.
mackerel fishing. Were you guys trolling them? Or you?
Yep.
Yep.
That is the only kind of trolling that I can do because you never know what you're going to catch, and they're gigantic.
They are big, dude.
And it's so much fun, and you just know when one grabs your bait and the line's just stripping off, the reel's making some noises you've never heard before. You just grab a hold of the thing and hold on.
We almost did like a long line, like a hand line situation where it was on a big roller.
Oh, okay.
And then when it had hit, then you would just hand line them in.
Oh, dang.
That was pretty cool. So we had rod and reel, and then that was the other tactic, and that one was why that was the way, but that was the
Yeah.
one we caught all the fish on that day.
That is crazy.
And we pounded them. Like it was for a bachelor party with my best friend, and we were like the only charter group to go out that day to catch a limit of fish.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but those king mackerels are pretty cool
Oh
fish.
man, they're a blast. Yeah, so I jumped into that when my mom would travel down south for those tournaments. She was the manager, but she also specialized in the saltwater side. So I would go down to Florida quite a bit, and I'd always fish with the Beaties, so like Scott Beatty, Kirk, and Cody. And Kirk actually owns Preferred Marine down in Florida now, and they still fish a ton of saltwater tournaments. They're really, really good. A lot of fun to watch. But yeah, I fished with those guys, and we won a VIP tournament out of Jacksonville. And that was just one of those experiences, like winning. And it's like, that's all you want to do.
Yep.
That is like the most addicting thing.
Yep.
Even just being a part of the team, like it was just another thing that fed the monster, I guess.
So how's the bass stuff going for you? You said you've had some early success in it, like
Yeah.
fourth. You said you took fourth in AOI, right?
Yep. This year, I would say last year was probably my best season that I've had in a really long time. I have mentors that have always helped me out, but I've never had that one guy to take me out since I started owning my own boat. I've always had guys chip in, like Chris Wenzel's one of them. He was one of my big mentors when I first started. I fished team tournaments with him first. And then, Jim Barzak taught me a bunch of stuff. Troy's taught me a bunch of stuff, like just being in the club and being in the back of the boat with people. Tim Erickson's another one. I fished with him a bunch. But when I got my own boat, I did a lot of things on my own. And you hit a slump. Like I fished my first year in the BFLs. I took third and won in Winneconne. And then I didn't do very good for the next 2-3 years. So it's just one of those things that the more time you spend on the water, you learn a little bit more. And then this last year, I just got the confidence in myself. Like, you know what you're doing. Like, just go do what you know what to do. And it turned out pretty good for me.
You got to get out of your own way, right?
Yep, pretty much. It was, and I thought back, it's like a lot of overthinking. You just think too hard on the water sometimes. You'll think yourself right out of catching them.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
So
that's Kyle's on.
Kyle's on.
That's one thing we hear a lot of is just, from the tournament side of it, is just go out and fish is probably the hardest thing for a lot of people to do.
Yep, it really is. And another thing that I did learn is practice is practice. Like you want to find the fish, you want to find the winning schools of fish and everything, but you also use it to figure out what the fish are doing, where they are, where they might go. And when it comes game day, don't be scared to scrap it and just go do something else.
Yep.
Do something you have confidence in.
I was just gonna ask you some advice, and I think you just answered the question I was
Yeah.
thinking of. Is like for somebody young getting into the game, that's perfect advice for it.
Yeah, and don't be scared to experiment with stuff. It's like just because you go to a body of water and they catch them this way all the time, yeah, keep that in mind,
Right.
but don't be scared to try other stuff.
Well, Rayburn Red is a perfect example of that.
Yep.
You go to Sam Rayburn when that whole thing started. Anywhere in Texas, you had to throw Rayburn Red rattle trap or that color. The fish eat other stuff.
Yep.
You go to Gunnersville, you get caught in the same thing where you
Yeah.
got to throw the baits that they catch them on. The locals catch them on year round, and them are the known baits. Well, last time I was there, I didn't even throw it. We did pretty well.
Yeah.
You just got to can't be afraid to try something else to get away from
Right.
the norm.
Well,
Exactly.
sometimes bringing those northern tactics too, just whatever that may be, just triggers a little different reaction out of those southern fish.
Yeah.
Well, your confidence is more than anything. If I'm confident throwing a black and blue jig, I'm
Throw
gonna
a black and blue jig.
in the whole country. Doesn't matter where it is, clear water, dirty water, largemouth, smallmouth, and you're gonna catch fish.
Yep. That's a big thing.
I see Brian's got a question for you. Do you want to answer that
How do
one?
you spell Behnke?
Did we spell it wrong someplace?
'Cause it must be spelt wrong somewhere.
Okay. Whoops. Yeah, as all my buddies from Alabama, they pronounce it Binky.
Binky?
Binky. Like, no, it's Banky.
It's
Oh,
Banky.
Binky.
There's an H in there.
Yeah.
So what does this time of year look like for you? I mean, the anticipation of the upcoming tournament season. I mean, what do you do in the off season?
It's a lot of prep work, just getting equipment lined up, making sure I got all the rods I need, tackle I need. Because, I mean, this place has everything.
Yep.
So I go through these shelves and pick out a bunch of stuff, but it's inevitable when you go to somewhere, they'll be biting something that you barely have.
Yep.
So I try to minimize that as much as I can. And honestly, I spend a lot of time in the gym. I work out a lot, just try to get my mind and body in shape because this season is long and draining.
Yep.
And it can really, really take a toll on you if you're not prepared for that. One thing that I like to lift weights. I mean, I was in sports, I'm a firefighter, and trying to stay physically fit is always something that I've done. And I really do believe that helps me recover from long days on the water and waking up the next day at 4 o'clock and just being able to go fully charged because your body's so used to recovering in such a short amount of time,
Yep.
no matter what you're putting it through.
So, like physically wise, I mean, that all makes sense. What
Yeah,
is
it
the
does.
mental side of it all? What do you do mentally to keep yourself in good shape that way?
Well, one thing is still lifting weights is one of the, like just to help relieve stress. And for me, I cannot sit still in the off season. Like I'm watching YouTube videos, I'm reading stuff, I'm just I consume myself with information as much as I can. But every once in a while, it's just stepping away, spending time with family and friends because you know you're going to be gone a lot.
Yep.
Spend a lot of time with my girlfriend, and just take a break from it. Because then when you go back into it, you're that much more driven because you've been away from it for a little bit.
Yep.
So
Yeah, this sport has a very, very high percentage of divorce rate because you're gone so much. If you fish tournaments and you're traveling, it's no different than a traveling salesman that's gone 5-6 days a week,
Yeah,
right? You're gone.
absolutely.
You're gone for weeks on end sometimes. Sometimes it doesn't make sense to come home
Yeah,
if
right.
you got back-to-back events or something, and it's
It's taxing.
taxing on
Very
family,
taxing.
friends,
Yep.
relationships for sure.
Yeah.
You said you have girlfriend or fiance? Which one?
Girlfriend.
Does
Yep.
she travel with you at all?
Not at the moment. She's got some stuff working, and maybe that can happen down the road. We're kind of working towards that right now, but not right now. She doesn't travel with me. She was able to come to the Toyota Series Championship down in Gunnersville. It's awesome having her there.
Yep.
And she just loves the tournament vibe and just being just down south. You know, it's warm, it's nice, people are awesome,
Yep.
and it's bass fishing. Like we have an awesome community that we're around. The people and everything
Especially
are
in
phenomenal.
Gunnersville.
Yeah, Gunnersville is just a fishing town, and a lot of people know that you're there to fish, and they respect you. They treat everybody great. It's just awesome down there. But yeah, no, she's very, very understanding. She's an awesome person to have by my side through all of this, and she's so supportive of everything that I'm doing. I'm truly blessed to have her with me.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Do you have a travel partner now, or do you just travel all by yourself for the most part?
Well, last year I traveled by myself, but I always met up with Laker Howell, Andrew Nordby, Ethan Green, David Ridley, and that whole group of guys. So next year, Andrew Nordby made it, and Laker Hall made it to the invitationals. Ethan's jumping in a couple of them, and Marshall Robinson will be traveling with us too I think he's in all of them. But yeah, but for the whole season, I will be rooming with Andrew Nordby and Laker Hall.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's not a bad group to get hooked up
No,
to travel with.
no, it's super awesome. All those guys are like brothers to me. It's going to be so much fun. We're going to have a blast.
And you got to have fun too. Yeah, you're there to seriousness of the sport.
Oh, yeah.
Fishing the tournament, and that's why you're there. But what people don't see is behind the scenes stuff when you're not on the water. If you're not around a group of people that you get along with and trust, it's a long
it's a long
process,
season.
it's a long week, because if you're getting lied to by one person, it can completely mess up your whole train of thought for that event.
Oh, it'll spiral you right out.
Yeah, definitely.
Yep.
Yeah, that's crazy, and that's awesome that you got such a good crew of people around you as well, family, friends. That makes a huge difference.
Oh, for sure.
And especially because like it could get a little lonely traveling like that all the time.
Oh yeah, it does. I spend a lot of time on the phone when I'm driving, talking to other people like Doug Chapin. He travels around fishing the NPFL.
Yep.
I'm on the phone with him all the time. I'm on the phone with Jake Bigelow. He's traveling fishing the Opens. He's fishing all 9 this year. I'm on the phone with him constantly, and the guys that I room with, and then people back home. You got to kill some time between podcasts and some music. You got to talk to somebody every once in a while.
Yeah, it keeps you awake too.
Yeah.
Right.
And some long drives. Some long drives. Florida, I think, going to be 22 hours to the Harris Chain, where my first one is.
Yeah, it's 22 hours pulling a boat.
Yeah, we just made that trip a couple months ago. And it was, what did we did like 18 on the way home though, didn't we?
The way home we sent it.
Oh, you booked it.
She was full send.
Oh yeah.
She was full send. Brian turned down the volume for a second.
Don't need to hear that
Insurance
part.
agent don't need to hear this, but yeah.
Potty breaks were like, do you really got to go?
Yeah, right.
You almost got scolded when somebody mentioned it, right?
Yep.
You got nervous towards the end.
You gotta
of it.
stop at Buc-ee's though.
Oh,
We
you
did.
have to. That place is phenomenal.
It's huge.
It's massive.
They were telling me about it, and then we hit the first one. I'm like, holy smokes.
It puts Quick Trip to shame.
I saw a video the other day that there was a waiting line to get in the parking lot at Buc-ee's at one of them. It was in Florida somewhere, so however many there are in Florida. I know
There's a bunch.
Beach, but
Yeah, there's a bunch
waiting
in
line.
Florida
Can
and
you imagine
Alabama.
waiting at Buc-ee's to get fuel? It's
No.
228
I was going to
pumps.
say, there's a bajillion pumps there.
Right. Plus, like right across the road, there's another gas station. Nobody goes to it
nobody's going
because it's
there.
not a Buc-ee's.
You
Right.
can't buy fudge, cotton candy, and all the other crap that you eat when you're on the road.
Just
Them
the,
crappy
can't
gas-
get all the
amount of
good stuff.
jerky that place has is
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
That could be a whole nother show.
You know how,
That place
like-
is awesome.
You know how like Quick Trip after so many hours they grab the food and they got to get rid of it. Like, can you imagine the amount of jerky they just
Oh my
trash at
gosh.
Buc-ee's? But does jerky really ever go bad?
Yeah, Kyle said there's a Wally's in St. Louis. It's the same. They were telling me about that at one of the events, that it's the same type of gas station.
Just a monster.
Just a
Oh,
giant,
dang.
just a giant, and they don't allow semis in it.
Really?
There's no semis in Buc-ee's.
Well, I guess I didn't even pay.
I didn't
attention
even
to
realize that.
Yep.
I mean, I guess there's always a.
Yeah, no trucks allowed.
That's
Wow.
why you would think they would have created that
Yeah.
store, is because of the semi game.
Yep.
They got
it's-
all their own truck stops.
It's basically a grocery store, a Bed Bath and Beyond, and a hardware store.
Yeah, you walked
Got
in there
everything.
like,
all together.
you need a new smoker, you got those. You need a
Yep.
deer blind, they got those.
Ice. If you need ice, they
Ice.
got enough
Oh
ice.
my
Yep.
They got
god.
enough ice for
The
everybody.
amount of ice. And the other thing they do is like they do a nice job of like keeping up with everything that's clean. Very
flawless.
clean. Very clean. Just cool.
Yep.
So if you haven't
And they're
been to-
still growing too. They're putting them up all over the place too.
Yeah. I don't know, man. It's hard to
Crazy.
beat a Quick Trip.
It is. You
It
miss
is.
a quick trip when you're not in Wisconsin.
Well, see, when we stopped too, it was so early in the morning, like they never really had any hot food available at the time. That I would like to try. The Buc-ee's hot
Yep.
food.
I'd
but-
never had that before.
Well, and when you're halfway through your drive home, you're sick of a lot of that food too. Like, I do not want any more junk food.
No.
Mhm.
I do
No.
not need
Yeah.
another soda. Do not need another energy drink.
No.
No.
Don't need a salad from Dollar General, bro.
Oh, that
That's
Oh,
all it
that's
was.
Matt's favorite.
Oh
Can-
my
Can we stop
God.
at Dollar General? I want to get a salad.
No,
my
well, it was.
gosh.
We were in Oklahoma, and like it was the same thing, like just nonstop crap for like
Yeah.
3 days straight. And finally, I'm like, I just need something different. First of all, like they always had like the little dollar energy shots that I'm addicted to. But I walked in and I walked out with a salad. These guys are like, Yeah, you're gonna be in the crapper.
Yeah,
thing there's a bathroom
that's gonna
close
run
by.
right
I'm
through
luckily,
you.
knock on wood, I got a pretty iron stomach, so it didn't really affect me. But they're like a
Oh.
salad,
Oh,
bro.
my
And that was-
How far down did you have to dig to find that?
And that was on the way to the weigh-in for the MPFL. So we got like a 4 or 5 hour stretch here where we're going to be busy.
Yep, you can't take
And
a break.
He goes and eats a salad from Dollar General. I was like,
My gosh.
Listen, it was good. I
Yeah.
made it.
I said some prayers for him.
I made it.
Sprinkle some water
But
on them.
The moral of that story is I just needed something like fresh. And there was
Yeah.
there weren't very many options where we were.
No, Grove does not have
They don't have much.
a wide variety of places to eat.
You can stop at what's that? They got Sonics.
Yeah, there's a
Dairy
Sonic.
Queen.
We learned some crap about that part of Oklahoma too. Like,
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
dude.
oh my God. You think some areas around Wisconsin are bad? There were some pretty sketchy areas around
Yeah,
there.
them cops are pretty candid with the stuff that they're telling us.
Yeah,
Well,
I can
so was there a
imagine.
person at Walgreens, remember? They're like, I don't even chase people anymore. I just wave as they walk
Just
out the
wave
door
as they
with
run
arms
out.
full of crap. It's like, gosh,
Have a
dude.
good day.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that
Yeah,
today.
come back tomorrow. There's
Matt always wanted to go to Walgreens. I don't know why. Del Taco,
Del
that place is
Taco.
legit. You been to Del Taco?
I drove past it.
You need to go.
Yeah.
You might have to go to the gym after.
Is
but
that the one we stopped
Okay.
to in Florida?
yeah,
Yeah.
Del Tacos are legit.
All right.
It was okay.
You don't have to convince me too hard when it comes to Mexican food. You don't.
It's good.
I love it.
Yeah,
So back to fish and talk. Like out of all the bodies of water that you've had the privilege to fish, right, or so far, what's your favorite and why?
Oh man, that is tough.
You can think about it. We can come back to it.
There's a couple.
So let's narrow it down first. Let's go. Are you more of a largemouth or a smallmouth?
I
fisher?
love chasing smallmouth. I'm so addicted to that. I mean, I haven't spent a lot of time up in the bay until this last year. I tried to make a lot of trips up there just to dedicate myself to learning Great Lakes fish.
Mhm.
And there is something so satisfying about catching a big smallmouth out there. I love chasing Great Lakes fish.
Weren't you like out there yet in December?
Yeah. It was late November.
Like
Yeah.
real late, like basically December.
Yeah. We were catching them. It was awesome.
Yeah.
It was so
You catch
awesome.
them right now if the ice wasn't over there.
The ice wasn't over it, yeah. But as far as largemouth goes, oh man. Gunnersville is pretty hard to beat. Gunnersville in February. I had the privilege of staying down there for 2 weeks last year. And that spring bite down there is pretty hard to beat.
Yeah.
It is a blast.
Largy, are you a power fisherman or more finesse?
I'm more of a power fisherman when it comes to largemouth. I like casting and cranking. But if it's on a flipping bite, like if I can find a good stretch of bank, I'm not scared to put a flipping stick in my hand and go to work and pick everything apart.
Yep.
That's one thing about living in Wisconsin too, is like you can do anything you want. I mean, frogging, punching, all of that, go over the Mississippi River. There's a bunch of lakes that get matted grass in it. You can go fish deep grass almost anywhere, get some practice deep cranking. Like it's not ledge fishing, but you get the idea of, just working an edge or working a hump or something like that. And then you can go fish all these phenomenal smallmouth fisheries. You got the bay,
Yep.
a bunch of inland lakes that have giant smallmouth in it up north, even around here. And we have rivers everywhere too, so you get pretty good at fishing rivers. Like one tournament that I have next year is the Potomac, and I know it's a tidal body of water, but I'm not really nervous about that because it's just current. They relate to current. It just depends how much water's over their head.
Yep.
So
And where they go,
when it drops out,
where they're going
when
to on up and where they're going to on down currents.
Yep.
Or down, it's
it rises and falls, they
Yep.
fluctuate. But
the
What's-
tides, I mean.
What's your PB so far of both species?
my PB largemouth is 8.5,
Dang.
and that was in Illinois.
Really?
Yeah.
Newton,
Nope.
Can't tell you.
secret.
Like
It's a
none of your
secret.
business.
Had to be on the river then.
It's a
Everything
secret.
else sucks.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And
It's not
then
even fun driving through Illinois.
no, it's not.
Worse than Nebraska, you think?
Nebraska's cool because of Lake McConaughey. If there wasn't Lake McConaughey, and there's probably more cool lakes in Nebraska.
I've never even
Illinois,
been
I
on a
haven't
body
found
of
a cool
water.
one yet. So
Oh, but smallmouth is a 6.9. I haven't even broke that 7-pound mark yet. That's how I know I'm an amateur Great Lakes fisherman. I haven't caught a 7-pound smallmouth yet. I've gotten close, but
Yep.
yeah, no, never over 7.
yeah,
I'm working on it.
You'll get it.
Oh yeah.
Spending time on the bay, it's bound and determined to happen. You spend any time there in May or June,
Yeah.
October, November, December, you're gonna catch one.
Yep. It's only a matter of time. My lieutenant at work is good friends with Corey Springle, and they were up there practicing for the Sturgeon Bay Open, and he's up there for one day and he catches a 7-1.
Yep.
I come back to work. He's like, I was up there for one day and caught a 7.
Right,
This isn't
ain't
so
that
hard.
hard,
I'm like,
bro.
man.
You're a professional? Come
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
Come on. Yeah.
But, yeah.
If I remember correctly, Corey I think they had a 7-pounder this year in the Sturgeon Bay
They
Open.
did. Yep. They did.
Have you ever caught spotted bass?
Yeah. Yeah, I spent one of my first traveling tournaments was actually Lewis Smith in Alabama. I went down there for Bass Cat Owners Tournament, and they are fun. Those Lewis Smith one, they fight a lot like a smallmouth. I mean, as soon as you think you got them, they take that dig right at the boat. It's crazy. And I was catching them on crankbaits too, so they were just ripping the rod out of your hand.
Nice.
Oh, it was insane. That was fun. I haven't really had any experience with like Coosa River spots. I have some friends down in Alabama that always told me that I got to go do that. They're just a different kind of aggressive, and you can fish from kind of like a largemouth, like flipping, spinner baiting, swim baits, that kind of stuff. Not your light line Alabama rigs and such, but
I get told I gotta get down and fish some spots more, Lake Lanier and
yeah,
all that.
oh man,
Lewis Smith is a phenomenal.
I gotta time that right. And I mean, we timed, I think for that one, it was in 2020 as COVID was hitting. The water was up, and it rained quite a bit in practice, dirtied up the water. First day of the tournament, we caught one. Second day of the tournament, we loaded the boat in an hour. Like, they just move so much. And with that lake being a herring lake, I didn't really understand how herring worked. And man, when they get into a pocket, everything chases them. It is just gangbusters. It's insane. It was so much fun. They're just a different animal.
Do you have that Bass Cat loaded with all like the fancy graphs and everything?
I run all Garmin electronics. I have a 126 at the dash, and I have a 106 and a 102 up front. And I just got the Garmin Force trolling motor this winter. I'm ready to get down and play with that thing. That's for sure.
What was your learning curve on some of that stuff? Like what, for a lot of people, we get a lot of questions about, what's the best way to learn your electronics? For you, what was it?
It's just getting out and getting behind it and using it and playing with it.
Yep.
The nice thing about Garmin's is if you do something and you totally jack up your units, you can factory reset and go right back to where you started.
That's what Kyle said a bunch.
You can't be afraid to do that.
No.
You're not going to learn if you don't know what every setting does.
Right, exactly. And like I get asked a lot with Live Scope, how'd you get your screen? I mean, you saw my screen in a couple of my stories. It's pretty fuzzy, but I like it like that because you can see and part of it was just that transducer.
Yep.
But I like that so you can see every single movement. Like you can pick out the tail of the fish. You can pick out what direction they're swimming. If they're getting wider, if they're getting smaller, you can sort out where they're going and where to cast to them, how to present a bait to them. It's just all time on the water and playing with your electronics to get the screens that you like. Even the color palettes and everything, that can change with water clarity.
Definitely.
So Kyle Maury's got a question for you. He says, what cat are you running?
An era. The
Kyle's-
Bass Cat era.
Kyle's got a cat as well.
It's a 20-foot 2, and the thing is fast. It is a fast boat, but it is an awesome Great Lakes platform as well because it's a little bit narrower than the rest, so it can maneuver in and out of waves pretty easy, run the troughs really well. It's a great big water boat, and it's totally underrated because the Cougar and the Puma are, they're a mainstay when it comes to a tournament platform. They're a little bit wider. They're Great Lakes capable as well. But not a lot of people think of the Era because the only thing they think of is fast. That boat is fast and it gets really shallow, which it does.
Yep.
But it's also a great platform for big bodies of water.
Have you always run Bass Cats, or how'd you get connected with them?
No, my mom was good friends with Rick Pierce, and that's how we met. And he's just a phenomenal guy. I met him when I was 4. He still tells the story every time he introduces me to somebody at the factories. I've known this guy since he was about this tall.
That's the relationships of this industry, though.
Oh yeah,
regardless of the boat brand, everybody has a story like that is, a
Mhm.
factory type deal. It's very rarely does it have anything to do with your fishing ability.
Yeah, no, I mean, the Bass Cat, it's a family, and they treat you like family.
That's
And
awesome.
that's why I love the brand. I love everybody down there. They're phenomenal people. And if anybody can pop in and take a tour at Bass Cat. If you're ever around Midway, Arkansas, just close to Mountain Home, just stop in and say you want to take a tour. They'll line it up for you right there. You don't have to call ahead or nothing. They might be a little busy, might have to sit there and wait for a little bit, but
Sure.
they'll take you through everything.
That's awesome.
It's really cool. Yeah, they even make their own trailers. Right
Yeah, they
there.
make everything.
They make everything.
Do you
Seats, all of it.
do
Mhm.
you have any like trips planned in the off season to kind of stay up? I mean, for us here, it's frozen. Everything's frozen right now.
Yeah.
And like you said, the last time you actually went open water fishing was in November. Do you try to go anywhere if your time slot allows you to stay fresh?
Honestly, I'd love to, and I'd love to get out and do more, but I have to, just with my obligations with work,
Yep.
I have to stay around here. But my tournament season starts so early this year. I leave in a couple of weeks. I leave on the 26th of January. So I'm not sitting still long.
Right.
So, I mean, I practice casting in the living room sometimes,
Yep.
but set up a couple cups and just pitch a jig into it just to stay up with, the technique and everything, just to stay fresh. But otherwise, I would love to plan more trips, but I just can't with work obligations.
Yep.
It is what it is.
So besides fishing, what other hobbies do you have? Working out, you said, but what
Yep.
other things keeps you busy?
I like to duck hunt when I can. That's just one of the things that I just love being on the water.
Yep.
And my uncle introduced me to hunting, and he was an avid outdoorsman, loved to hunt. He hunted everything. And I just love waterfowl hunting. I love all the different species of ducks and geese and everything. They're such pretty birds. And I can compare it to fishing because, like you set out the decoys, it's kind of like your bait. And then your calling is like working the bait and getting them to commit to come into you.
Yep.
But otherwise, I like to go to concerts, do that kind of stuff, hang out with friends, have a good time.
Any epic waterfall trips that you've made, or just like any epic days that you could talk about?
We did a snow goose hunt for my cousin's bachelor party. We went down to northern Missouri,
Okay.
and that was a time. It was phenomenal. We went with Harris Outfitters, and those guys are awesome down there. And one day, I got to think now, we shot a total of 74 birds in 2 days. And one day we shot 14, and the other day we shot 60.
Yep.
So that was awesome. It was nonstop. We had big flocks flying over us like every once in a while, but it was singles and doubles coming in all day long.
That's
It
awesome.
was so much fun.
I'm working on, I think I got my first chance here to go snow goose hunting. I got invited by a gentleman out of Nebraska.
Okay.
And we're literally just lining this up. He contacted me randomly, and this will be my first snow goose trip. And I know it's so weather dependent, but
Yeah.
I've heard just crazy,
Oh,
like
it's nuts.
they call them like snow goose tornadoes.
Yep.
Did you
Oh, yeah.
experience that?
Oh, yeah. Because in Missouri, in spring, you can use electric calls.
Yep.
So we're sitting in the blind. We're surrounded by decoys. I don't know how many decoys we set out.
Like thousands.
They set out like 12 to 16 dozen, something like that. It was a ridiculous number. We're all sitting there, and you just see this flock way up. And then the next thing you know, they're all bunching up, and then they slowly start spinning down to you. And I'm just sitting there like, holy crap. It's the largest amount of birds I've ever seen working a decoy spread in my life. And
How
I was
many
like,
shells can I get in this
yeah.
gun?
Oh, that was another thing. Like, I didn't buy the extended barrel. Big mistake. Or the extended magazine. You need that.
So the guy that I've been talking to says like it's a lot of people roll in with it, but he's like usually after 3 shots, their birds are kind of scattered anyways.
This I don't know, maybe it was just our location or just the amount of birds. When you have that many birds working you,
Yep.
you can unload, and the ones up top, they'll keep coming because they can't hear it.
Because
Because
there's
there's
so
so
many birds.
much noise up there. Yeah, and they're squawking, they're all making a bunch of noise, and they'll just keep coming down. It's wild. I had enough time because I only had 3.
Yep.
And I'd shoot all 3 and have time to put 2 more shells in and pop off 2 more shells before the birds would be gone.
Did you find yourself just like pulling the trigger and not really aiming?
Yeah, when we started, it's like there was just so many. I'm just like, just point and squeeze. You're gonna hit something.
Spray and pray.
Yep. We had one guy in our group. He had an extended mag, put 12 shells in. Every single time there was a bird anywhere close, he dumped 12 shells.
just so he could.
Yep. Got rid of every single
so
one.
he could.
Just dumping boxes.
Yep.
Yep.
He went through a case. I'm pretty sure he went through close of a case of shells. It was so much fun.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
It was
I
a
can't wait.
blast.
I'm hoping this trip pans out because it
Yeah.
sounds like it's unbelievable.
It can be. It really can be. But you know, it's like anything else in the outdoors. It's all weather dependent.
Yep.
You don't know what's gonna happen. So,
Yep.
but hopefully it works out for you because you won't forget it.
Oh man.
Even if you don't shoot a lot of birds, just the opportunity to see a lot of birds
Yeah.
is just crazy.
That'd be fun.
The flocks that they're in are just massive.
Yep.
Nothing like we get around here. Sure, we get a lot of Canadas, but it's nothing really special.
Yeah, that's awesome. That kind of just gets me even more excited to potentially
it's-
make this trip happen.
Stock up on shells 'cause you're gonna need it.
Well, good thing we know a place.
Yep.
Usually
Yeah.
has good inventory. Either that or I'll just tell Andy, "Hey, I need a case just
Yep.
in case
Yep.
for this trip." But
Absolutely.
any like fin facts, I like to call them, that you could kind of tell people, like what is something that people don't know about Andrew Banky that you want them to? Any cool stories, not fishing, not hunting related, like anything like on your fire trips or anything like that you can talk about?
I can't really think of anything, man. That's a tough one.
Put you on the spot.
Yeah.
That's my job, man.
Mm,
Like, do you meet anybody? Like, okay, let me ask you this. This is one that really works. If you could fish with one person, doesn't have to be an angler, it could be a celebrity, one influential person in your life, who would it be and why?
That's another tough one because I've spent time in the boat with Shaw Grigsby, and that was
nice.
that was a
Golly.
treat. Yeah, we fished Lake Oneida together for practicing for the elites, and then I fished Old Hickory with him as well. And I found myself sitting in the back of the boat just watching a lot. And that was the Oneida trip was one of my first times targeting smallmouth bass. Traveled all the way to New York from here to target smallmouth bass and just watching how you fish a drop shot or watching how he'd work a jerk bait,
Yeah.
fish a tube, like all that stuff. I would just sit back and watch, and it was so cool. I do want to spend time in the boat with Bill Dance. I mean, how could you not?
Yeah, he would
Guy's
be
a
a fun
legend.
guy to fish with.
He's an awesome person.
Yep.
I've met him before. We still get Christmas cards from him and his son every single year.
Really?
Yeah.
Man, yeah, you do know. Like, was there a certain thing that Shaw did that you just like, I've never seen that before, and you still use that to this day?
He taught me a knot. I couldn't even tell you what it's called, but I still use it to this day. He says, I've never popped this knot off, or it's never broken at the knot.
So it's a bait connection knot, or it's
Yep,
a line to
bait
line?
connection, bait connection knot. And I still use it to this day. And I mean, it's just like a double loop. You put it around your finger, twist it a couple times, put it back through, tighten it down. You'll have 3 tag ends. And I've never broken at the knot.
Really?
Obviously, I've broken line before, but
Yep.
never at the knot.
Hmm.
Unless you're
That's awesome.
yanking on it to try and break it off, but otherwise, no. And just how he broke down like cover. It was just fun to watch him just do his thing.
Yep.
And we'd go from fishing like bluff walls to shoreline grass to docks out to a ledge, gravel point. Like he would sample everything in such a short amount of time, whereas some people would probably take so much longer. But that's how those guys operate.
Yeah.
Like it's
They
at
know
a
they.
totally different speed.
Yeah, it's power by numbers too, where you go and look at these things, you know what you're looking at, right? So you pick this big body of water, you pick a quarter of the lake, and that's where you're going to spend your time. That they want to look at everything.
Mm-hmm.
You don't miss anything. You might not even fish it, like you
Right.
said. You just
A lot of it's just riding around.
go look at it, see how long that gravel comes off that point.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
later in that event, you catch one on a gravel point, ding, I know I can go to that one.
Man, that's a great thing to know. Like,
Mhm.
it's just watching that would help your pregame
Oh, for
so
sure.
much.
It's taken me a lot to actually break down like what I saw, because I just thought like we're running all over the place just looking at everything. Well, look at the fine details in things, and really like, how does that rock turn? What size is that rock? Is there a
Right.
transition in the rock? You know, it's just all those little details that you start to break down instead of just scanning. It's like, yeah, there's a rock edge right there. There's nothing on it. On to the next. Like, well, what's making the edge? Is there a drop? Is it just like a big boulder? Is it a group of rocks? Like, what is it?
Yep.
So that's kind of the stuff that you really start to look into and dive into.
That you got to find yourself at times just doing that around like bodies of water, just to, again, to help you, especially here,
Mhm.
lakes, but go back over that spot and really dissect what it is about that spot.
Absolutely. I do that all the time. Like spots that used to fish a long time ago. And you just go like, well, they used to stack up right here. Why? And then you look, it's like, oh, there's a boulder right there.
And
Or,
as the electronics get better and better, you realize, duh.
yeah. It's like, oh, this totally makes sense now.
Right.
Or even, like shoreline grass. Like when I'm younger, sitting in the back of the boat and somebody found these fish, you just think we're going down the bank.
Right.
Like, no, there's a channel swing right there. It's rock with laydowns. Like, yeah, they're sitting right there.
Yep.
Like just starting to pick things apart that you learn with time on the water. It's just, that's what it really is all about. You want to learn more about fishing. You want to get better at catching fish. You spend more time on the water.
Since you were so kind of connected to this, did you find your first tournament experience was really intimidating, or did you feel right at home?
Oh, my first BFL tournament was very intimidating to me. It was on Prairie du Chien. So it was 9, 10, and 11. And a good buddy of mine, Wells Kaiser, he lived over there. And I didn't know how to break down the river. Never been over there before. I fished the Mississippi River as a junior out of La Crosse. So I knew of some areas that hold fish up there, but never on this stretch. And I ended up locking down to 11, which me and him were the only two to do it. And I made a super long run almost to the end of the pool, basically to Dubuque. Now, this is my first tournament. I'm running in a 94 Champion with an old engine on the back. Just full send. No other thought. Just go. Because I found them in a marina. And I caught my fish, filled up, saw a couple barges coming. I was like, yeah, I should probably leave. And headed all the way back up. But still, I was shaking like a leaf at blast off. Absolutely shaking so bad. My co-angler was probably thinking, like, this guy has no idea what he's doing.
Right.
But I was like excited, nervous, and just wanted to get to the fish because I knew they'd be biting. But yeah, it was pretty intimidating.
That's
Definitely.
a feeling you can't teach either. Like you can't explain that feeling even to this day. Like idling at Sturgeon Bay Open, yeah, it's fished it X amount of times. It's cool. It's around all these people that I respect, and you still have that knot in your gut type feeling. Like,
Right.
are they gonna bite?
Well, that's
I'm
part of the
running here, are
addiction, man.
Yeah.
it's so awesome.
I'd say right before, like, I get really amped up, like, even when they're calling boat numbers and everything, but right before you punch that throttle to take off, it's just like, oh, here we go.
Here
Let's
we go. What in the boat the morning of a takeoff, do you have music going, and what is it if it is?
Nope. I'm one of the guys, I show up first. I'm normally one of the first boats in the water, try to be anyway. And I'll just sit there and just kind of think about what I'm going to do. I'll look at a map every once, like maybe a little bit, look through my tackle just to see if I got everything right. I won't pull the rods out until it's light, but I just sit there, and it's just nice to get in the water, back off the ramp, put the poles down, and just hang out, chill.
Yep.
Just let everything wake up around you, and just, I'd like to immerse myself in everything. And then when they start cranking up the music at the takeoff, then it's like, all right, let's go.
Let's go.
Yeah.
You let that long hair just flow.
Hey, guys.
Yep.
I'm going to interrupt here. We were speaking earlier about that knot. Well, I got a little present I'm going to bring on in there.
Oh,
All right.
Okay.
Andy's bringing us a
doing
present.
doing some work.
Is it soda?
Oh,
you want
there
the
we go.
Oh, okay.
All right.
So there's cameras that he's probably gonna. And you're gonna go with that camera right there. Is that the one?
Yeah.
There you go.
You need a bait.
Yeah, I need a bait.
Can you tie it on a pen?
We need a bait.
Yeah, we need a bait, Andy. Have Scotty bring us in a bait.
Grab.
Jig or something.
I got a spinner bait on my desk.
Okay, so while we're waiting on that, that's awesome. A great opportunity here. Boat snack. What is it?
Peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
I was gonna say protein for sure.
Yep.
Something
No.
with protein.
No, I actually do have some first form meal replacement bars that I'll eat and level 1 bars. But otherwise, it's a lot of I just like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Used to be Uncrustables, kind of on a budget, so I started making my own.
I thought maybe your mom quit making them.
No, no. So but one thing that I did, like I've done a little bit of research into this. You want to keep your blood sugar up when you're on the water. Same with staying hydrated.
Yep.
I carry a gallon of water with me out on the boat. Yeah, spinnerbait will work.
That worked.
Less to sling around at least.
Got scissors too?
I was disappointed you didn't throw it.
Yeah, I was expecting to put it in my hand.
That would have been awesome. So we're demonstrating. This is the Shaw Grisby knot here.
This is the knot that he showed me. Let's just
So
see.
he let Andy get back
Yep,
there, then
yep.
he'll.
But yeah, so I do try to stay fairly nutritious out on the water. My breakfast most of the time is a level 1 bar, or it's been a Go Mackerel bar, and an apple.
Yep.
And then I go a little unhealthy. I have an energy drink too.
What?
Yeah.
You're crazy,
You're
bro.
I'm a caffeine
You're
nut.
gonna die young.
Yeah, whatever.
I'm not even gonna tell you what I eat before a tournament. So.
Yeah, right. All right, so I think.
All right.
So I don't know if you're gonna be able to see this. You should have brought him braid.
He's zooming in.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, look at the camera work here.
All right, here we go.
So
I'll
he's
go
like,
right.
just
I'll
keep
go right in
moving.
the middle of my chest.
There you go.
But so I'll feed it through.
Might have to. There you go. He's trying to focus on you.
I'm just trying to get it.
Okay, so if you had to explain, so you went through with one
You
tag.
wet through once, pull a big tag in, go back through. So you'll have. This is hard to do with this spool right
You want me to hold it or have Kyle hold
here.
it?
This worked. All right. So here you go.
There you go.
See the loop? Let you focus in on it. So I got a loop of line, and then I undid it.
Then
But I'll just
usually you drop the bait in the water.
Yeah, that happens more often than I like to admit. But all right, so back to
The loop.
And then what I'll do is I'll put this over my finger just to kind of hold it. Take it and spin it around 3 times. And then you still have that loop that was around your finger. Pass this loop that you're holding through. Let it pull tight.
Yep.
Gotta wet it.
Gotta wet it.
And then let it cinch down. Sometimes you will have another loop there. All you do is grab the single tag end and pull on it.
And that'll tighten up both of those loops?
Yep, tightens. Well, don't pull on this one because that'll just loosen the knot back up.
Yep.
But if you have a little loop on top of your big tag end loop, just pull on the single tag end.
Okay.
And then, yeah, that's it. It's a pretty beefed up knot.
And then you obviously cut your tag end
Yep.
and that open loop.
Both of these. So
end
you'll
up
have
with 3 tags.
3 tags. Yep.
Pretty sure that's the same knot Josh ties.
I don't know what it's called.
Is that your
He doesn't
go-to
either.
for everything?
Shark knot or something, I think he calls it.
Yeah, it's a saltwater knot that Shot learned it. I do know that. But yeah, I basically use this with everything. I'll use a Palomar for braid just
Yep.
because you don't need as much twisting, but fluorocarbon, I'll do this. And then the only one I'll use a Palomar for is drop shot,
Yeah,
just so you
exactly.
have the tag end.
Yep.
Because this is just too much to deal with a drop shot. But otherwise, yeah,
Nice.
that's basically it.
I
Pretty
mean, we
simple
could
knot
always.
to tie.
It's not that hard once you get a hold of it. It's really not that bad.
No, it's a double tag in through, grab it, wrap
Twist,
around
yep.
3 times.
Yep.
Do you always go 3, never more?
Never more.
Not
I
needed.
found myself doing less with heavier line. Like if it's really heavy, like 25-pound fluoro is just a little too thick sometimes, I'll do 2.
Yep.
Because that's so beefed up and there's so much tension on that already.
Yep.
There's no need to do 3 sometimes. But
Thanks for showing us that.
yeah,
Yeah, that's
absolutely.
I had back to your peanut butter sandwich story. I'm a big peanut butter dude. I absolutely
I
love
love it.
peanut
Yeah.
butter.
Matt loves his peanut butter. That's
Like
for
in
sure.
my house, my kids I've gotten my kids to become peanut butter addicts as well. So like we'll have 8 to 10 jars on hand, and we'll probably go through at least half of that in a month.
Oh my god.
I'll grab a jar of peanut butter and just sit down and eat it. What's your
Just
go-to? Oh yeah,
shovelful.
Oh
spoonful.
my god.
And I'm not stingy either. Like I like if it's not mounted over, my sandwiches are the same way.
Yeah.
To the point where you can barely talk because you got so much in there.
Yeah.
What's your go-to peanut butter brand?
Oh man. I've been going. It's honestly whatever's at Aldi's.
Yep.
I like the Simply Organic stuff. It's pretty good. The oil.
Do you try to stay healthy with yours?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah. I stay. I mean, sometimes if you gotta, you gotta. I go with Skippy or
Yep.
Jif or the Great Value brand at Walmart. It depends where I am.
Okay, so that's what I was gonna say. So I was for the longest time, I was the Kroger brand at Pick and Save or
Pick and
whatever. Yep. And you got to go honey. I'm a honey peanut butter guy.
Okay.
It's creamy honey. So there was always a Kroger, but then like recently I found the generic brand at Walmart. Their honey
Yep.
is better.
Really?
Oh yeah.
I
Yep.
mean,
Have you ever had peanut butter and honey?
Yeah. Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
man.
Yep.
Try it.
good.
And it's pretty affordable. Like the small jars are only like $1.80
Yeah.
or something
Oh,
like
yeah.
that. But yeah,
Yep.
I 4 or 5 jars at a time when I go shopping there. It's nuts, dude. I love peanut butter. It is the best. I was waiting for Kyle to put a joke on the end of that, but no, man.
No,
Yeah.
I'll keep this PG.
Keep it PG.
I think I know what was coming
There's a
there.
reason you got so many dogs.
Yeah. See, there it was.
There it is.
The door. Let me just open that door right up for you. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, big.
I've even done just a tortilla shell and put peanut butter on that,
Wrap it
fold
up.
it,
Yep.
and eat that.
It's quick.
Hence the gallon of water, though, too. 'Cause if you do just peanut butter, you gotta have something to drink.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
worse when it gets lodged. Right
Oh,
here.
yeah.
I used to eat bear claws 2 at a time. They get like lodged. Like there is just like when you're so dry, it's just like you can't get enough spit to get. Oh man, it's the worst. But then
Then you
it's so.
follow it up with a saltine.
Yeah,
Oh,
you might
man.
as well.
Yep. Yep. Peanut butter banana sandwiches.
Yeah, them are legit.
Yep.
That's heartburn.
I don't do that on the boat, but yeah, it's
Yeah.
good. Granola. My girlfriend told me to add granola to it.
Oh,
That is
yeah.
actually really good. Because I like crunchy peanut butter. Sometimes you can't get it.
Yep.
So you got the smooth stuff. And if you throw granola on there, it adds a good crunch to it and a little
Nice.
bit more flavor.
Yep.
It's really good.
Yeah. In my infatuation, I'll sit down sometimes with like a granola bar, and then I'll just take spoonfuls and just eat it all. Dude, it's so good. I love peanut butter.
I love peanut butter.
Oh,
I don't know if I love it as much as you do.
Yeah, I
doesn't sound
hear
like anybody does.
No, I don't think so. That's pretty incomparable.
big fan.
Yeah.
Big fan. We used to eat it all the time with like and growing up we had like chop suey a lot. You ever have-
Okay, yeah.
But a lot of that style food with that peanut oil type stuff
Yep.
is what they use, so it's a good combination.
Yeah.
Chinese.
so
man.
good.
It's a soy sauce, a sweet to sour type combination.
Matt's gonna talk about food until we go for lunch. now.
Yeah, I know. It's
Where are we going for lunch
It's
today?
gonna be that way. It is gonna be that way. So okay, so did you play sports in like high school, college, anything like that?
Yeah, I played. So I started in rec league soccer when I was really young. I raced BMX, so pedal bikes on dirt tracks, and then I played basketball, and then I got into football as soon as I could, and I played football all the way through high school. When I got into high school, actually middle school, I did track as well,
Okay.
just to kind of stay in shape for football, and I played soccer in the summers to help me keep in shape for football.
Yep.
So
Yep.
basketball kind of fell by the wayside because I wasn't good enough to make the traveling team when I was in 8th grade. But I still like to play every once in a while. I
Yep.
don't do it not anymore, but
Right. Can't afford to get hurt.
no.
it's
Yeah.
tough,
That's
man.
a true statement.
Yeah.
It really is. It really is.
Winter times when I was younger, it was snowmobiling. And snowmobiling a lot. My dad's a big snowmobiler.
Nice.
He loves to do it. So we got snowmobiles up at the cabin. We used to go all the time down here. There's no snow anymore,
No,
so you
you
gotta
gotta
go
go
up
north.
there. Yep.
That is the thing nowadays with snowmobiling. Like if you got to travel
Yeah, you do.
for
You
the
do.
most part, at least to hit the good trails.
Yep.
All right, man. Well, it's been an hour, so we do appreciate you coming on in. Good luck this
Absolutely.
upcoming season. Let people know where they can follow along with your adventures this
All
year.
right. Banky Bass Fishing on Instagram. It's Andrew Banky on YouTube as well. Facebook,
Soon to be Fix TV.
Fix TV.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm definitely going to have a channel on that for sure. And then Facebook is just Andrew Banky.
Yep.
And TikTok is, I think it's Banky Bass Fishing. You can look up my name too. I'll pop up Andrew Banky.
Yep.
So
And it's BEHNKE. Yep. So, well, cool, man. Like I said, we do appreciate it. We're lucky to have you part of the Real Shot. I mean,
I'm
you
happy
did a
to be
great
a part.
job. You were nice enough to come down for our Christmas holiday shop-a-thon.
Absolutely. That was fun.
It was a
It was
lot
a
of
good
fun.
time.
Stab him right in the eye.
Yeah, stab him right in the eye.
That is the best.
Yeah, how would you use that 7-foot medium light rod? I'm going to use it as a sword. Stab right in the eye. Kyle Poyler was doomed on that whole deal.
Yeah.
He was losing.
That was a lot of fun too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
that was fun. I wish we had that clip. We got to get that one out there. That was
Yeah, that was good.
Just perfect reaction to it. So,
Oh, you asked him.
Yeah.
right. All right, man. Well, we're gonna wrap this up. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Andrew, for coming on in, man. And
Absolutely.
good luck this year.
Thank you.
And
I
obviously,
appreciate it.
everybody tune into his socials to stay updated on how everything's
Yeah.
going, right? Because you
I'd
said the
appreciate
first
it.
one starts February.
No, January.
January.
I fished the
already.
Harris chain. Well, I think that I had down the 26th. The tournament is the 1st through the 3rd. I'll go from the Harris chain straight to Okeechobee for the invitational.
Cool.
So, yep.
All
Can't wait.
right. Well, again, thanks so much, everybody, for tuning in. I'm not sure what the heck we're doing Monday. I think Brian, maybe Kyle. I know next week we got some stuff lined up. I think we're going to go to Sportive on Wednesday, Sportimotive, and do something there. So, if anything, we will see you bright and early Monday morning at 9 a.m. Central Standard Time.